Now would be the moment to welcome our first speaker. Please join us, Chris Mcdonough, all the way from Maine by way of London, SVP LL Bean. Sir.
This is a story 100 years in the making. It begins with a man who wanted dry feet when hunting. So he built a boot that built an empire that survived the Great Depression, war, wind, rain, and snow. Dedicated to doing things the right way, he built his business on trust, innovation, through countless rivers, along millions of miles of trails, and even to the Pentagon. Worn by soldiers, presidents, and baseball greats, trendsetters, kindergartners, and the occasional snowman. He was committed to their satisfaction above all else. And when his customers showed up after hours, he kept his doors open permanently, which led to the opening of others. Yes, his story is certainly one to be marveled at. A story of family values and unwavering commitment passed down from generation to generation. But this isn't the story of just one man. It's the story of anyone who's ventured outdoors and the company that's always stood behind them. LL Bean.
So good morning, everybody. So my name's Chris Mcdonough. I am a Brit who lives in Maine. I made the decision to move to Maine in the summer about 2 years ago. I had not experienced a winter, and the winters in Maine are perishingly cold. I'm really proud to be here today, very humbled to be here among the speakers, delighted that Margaret gave me this opportunity. I'm really proud to represent LL Bean and the journey we're on. So I really want to share with you what we're trying to do to revitalize a 106-year-old brand, and how do we repurpose it for the next century. So it's different to entrepreneurialism, but it is a challenge about how do you repurpose and revitalize a brand of such kind of pride among many customers. So I'm going to start with why we evolved the brand. First of all, we had to grow. So it was really important. We have about 7 million active customers, 33 million customers on our file, but we had an aging customer base with a modal value of about 71. So you can see the need to grow a new customer base and at the same time really build momentum in terms of overall sales growth. And that meant really focusing on who was the customer, current customer, and indeed who is going to be the customer of the future. So how could we find that new customer and actually build the brand for that new customer? We had to refocus on the product. How do we make sure the product is central and pivotal and compelling to our customer? And what does that mean in terms of product development? We had to make sure that we continued our excellence and execution around service, but also in terms of how we message to our customer. LL Bean is number one for service across most customer experience metrics in the industry against any competitor. Service is at the DNA of the brand, and therefore we had to retain that going forward. You saw in that video, our Freeport campus, which is about 300,000 square foot, it's a huge campus in Freeport, Maine. It's open every single day of the year, 24/7, has only closed 5 times in its history. So, you know, that is a real testament to kind of customer service and the approach of LL Bean. And ultimately, it was about growth. So that was kind of the mandate of how we shaped up this project. And this project shaped up about 18 months ago. And I'm pleased to say I represent the Herculean effort of many, many people who've contributed to this project. It's been a huge team effort among people at LL Bean, but also among our partners. And we've got great partners who have helped us on this journey. We did the usual, but we did it in great detail. We had about 500 hours of research. We spoke to over 7,000 customers, and we did a really, really deep, detailed map of the market to try and understand the market, the competition, and that allowed us to resegment the market in depth. It allowed us a clarity of positioning behind that segmentation, and then it allowed us a new creative expression. So that's 6 months worth of work in 30 seconds. But that's the journey we went on, and it was pretty deep and exploratory, and really quite enlightening, and really energizing to everybody to go through that level of detail. So some of those old kind of steady, important metrics and processes around how you build good segmentation and marketing still hold true today. And it was really important to go through that journey and go through that targeting. It also led us to understand what we wanted to be, but equally what we didn't want to be, and that was crucial. So we decided that we didn't really want to follow the conventions of the marketplace. We didn't want to be that Herculean solo conqueror in the outdoors. That was really important. We didn't want to be too contrived. We didn't want to be too posed. We wanted to be joyous. We wanted to be spontaneous. We wanted to be accessible to making the outdoors approachable for absolutely everybody. So it helped us understand as we went through this process where we wanted to go and what we wanted to avoid. It gave us a new target customer. So our target customer being the outdoor family enthusiasts. There are about 42 million of them in the US. So it's a pretty sizable opportunity for us. And it really was about a psychographic. So we're not wedded to any demographic. We're wedded to actually the OFEs who just celebrate the joy of being in the outdoor with friends and family. And that is what we are targeting, because we want to make the outdoors as accessible as possible. And then we identified 5 other key targets or key segments, and we recognized which segments we wanted to target and which segments we wanted to put on the shoulder of our outdoor family enthusiasts. We identified what was really important to these customers, and this is distilled down into 3 simple points. They need purposeful, well-designed products. Products have to have a reason. They have to have a function. They have to have a rational reason for being. They also really enjoyed experiences together. Their best time together was in the outdoors. So how could we be a brand that made that as accessible to them as possible? And importantly, in the outdoors, it gave them a sense of being and a sense of belonging. So how could we capitalize on that? And then we came up with a brand positioning. So this is all 101 kind of marketing, but actually on a 106-year-old brand, it's brave. Because what you're trying to do is reposition for the future. And the position was really about made for the shared joy of the outdoors. And it was a very, very purposeful statement. So in terms of our overall brand, everything had to be made for a reason. And there was a sense that the outside is inside everything we make. That was the inspiration for the made. Shared joy is because we actually wanted to appeal to a huge customer base around spontaneous, authentic joy. And then ultimately, we're an outdoor company. And what was really important as we went on this journey, if you're a 106-year-old company and you're trying to repurpose yourself for the future, you have to be respectful of the past. And you have to be respectful of the DNA of the past. So we held on to that DNA as we took the brand forward. And we also tied it back to what was the heart of LL. You know, LL, who founded the company, and Leon Gorman, who really trailblazed the scale of the company. LL had a personal relationship with the great outdoors, and he felt that people are at their best when they were in the outdoors. So we really wanted to recapture that essence. We had a clarity of customer, we had a clarity of positioning. We also said, what do our customers do? We identified the places they went, the activities they did, and we started building communication and product to actually cater to those activities. It just gave us a clarity of category and product assortment positioning as we identified the places that our outdoor family enthusiasts enjoyed being. And then we had to build a new creative expression for the brand. So we'd gone through this journey. This creative expression was launched about a year ago now, just over a year ago. Early signs are incredibly positive. We're at our highest rate of new customer growth, customer reactivation for over a decade. So we're seeing really positive signs of growth into the brand. But we needed a bold creative expression that was able to capture the imagination of our OFEs. And to do this, we came up with a manifesto. This manifesto kind of embodied the brand, and I'm actually going to read it to you because when we launched this in the business, it actually made people cry. I'm not expecting you to cry today, but it was really quite emotional to people that had worked at LL Bean for many, many, many years. So welcome to the outside, where there are no strangers, only friends we haven't met yet, where days have names like beach, snow, and bluebird, and where the smell of a campfire means you're in the right place. You don't need a passport to come here, an invitation to play here, or a membership to belong here. Just step outside your front door and you've arrived. You can forget your age, your worries, even your bathing suit. Just don't forget to bring your friends. It doesn't matter where you come from, only that you come often. So wherever you are, join us, because on the inside, we're all outsiders, and if it's outside, we're all in. So that was the real inspiration for the brand in terms of the new positioning to target the OFEs. And then we had to convert that into a kind of communication construct, how we're going to bring that creative to life, because all good creative needs a good communications construct, because that means you're disciplined in terms of how you execute it into the marketplace. So we came up with a construct whereby we had a real emotional lens to it. We had to capture those spontaneous moments of joy and really drive those hard. And then we had to do some significant product and storytelling to really make the brand relevant. So we had both the emotional and the product orientation. And then, of course, we all hear about omnichannel, whether in terms of reach or omnipresence, but it is really, really true. LL Bean was by and large a catalog-centric business, and has been, and we've got great direct marketing expertise, but we had to take the brand everywhere our customers were. So as well as invest significantly in print, we significantly scaled broadcast media. I'm going to show you some of that broadcast media. We went experiential, so we did some fun, risky things around experiential marketing, from mobile selling through to actually linking the craftsmanship of our great boots to the craftsmanship of great beer. That's an exciting thing to do in Maine. Through to flag and flannel football, through to flannel 5Ks, new store openings. We just went across everywhere, and we really ramped up our entire digital investment. And actually, Facebook became a predominant partner with us, and have been a great partner in terms of pushing us to really try new things. But we literally kind of went to every single touch point and thought, how can we access our customer in a different way? And actually, most of them have worked, but not all of them have. But that's fine, because it's all about learning from those kind of bold adventures and actually taking those learnings and going forward and doubling down and doing things different where appropriate. We tried something really innovative, which was very risky. So when we launched this campaign, we put an ad into the New York Times that only actually appeared when you took it outside. So in the newspaper, as you read it inside, there was nothing. And then you had to take it outside, and literally, as you took it outside, our manifesto appeared. And it was an amazing embodiment of the new positioning of the brand and what we're trying to celebrate. I will tell you, the man hours that Brad, who's a great colleague who's here today, took to get the ink right, because there were several examples where it wasn't actually working. But we worked really hard, and we thought this was the right thing to do for the brand, but it was a bold move. Another bold move as we were launching into the campaign, done more recently, is we took over an entire station in Boston, 143 different touch points. We took it over for a month, the entire brand, as we were launching a new store, as the marathon was on. This is just an example of how we wanted to approach media buying differently in a very disruptive and bold manner. And now I'm going to just show you, as we've been on this journey, a quick look at what we've done in kind of fall/winter 2018. And I want to start with, we've done something as a company. We did, has anyone heard of the Appalachian Trail? It's pretty famous in the US. 2,180 miles of joy, of kind of hiking and walking. As a company, we walked the entire Appalachian Trail. So we had effectively 86 teams, 43 teams of 2. You were partnered with somebody, and we did the whole trail end to end as a company. We did that as a statement about what we stood for, joy of the outdoors, to help maintenance of the Appalachian Trail, but also because it was just a bold statement of how we really wanted to approach the outdoors. 2,180 miles, 160 nights in a tent. I can testify to this. I was one of the relay teams. It was one of the hardest things, but most inspiring and joyous things I've done in my life. Hiking in the US is very different to hiking in Europe. Hiking in Europe is taking a walk in the countryside. Hiking in the US is getting out grappling hooks and being prepared to scramble up mountains and rock faces. 175 blisters, 300 peaks, 40 rainy days. It was just a wonderful, joyous company experience. I'm just going to share a video.
Jeff and Grace here with Top of Springer Mountain in Georgia.
Southern terminus of the Appalachian Trail.
eucalyptus bug spray smells better than I do right now. I don't like bug spray,
That's
but
true.
that's
Good morning. Ready for day 2?
Good morning.
Good morning. Have some hot coffee.
Is it rocky? Yes. Is it hilly? Yes. Are we a bit exhausted? Of course. But we have never been more determined to get to our destination.
That looks like rain.
Trying to beat the storm.
Didn't make it.
We're completely drenched, still doing fine.
This has been the best part of my day so far. That feels amazing.
Oh, wow.
I've always loved the outdoors, but being out here and being more mindful of the fact I get this privilege through my company just makes it more real for what we're really about, and it's awesome. I'm really loving this opportunity, and I love LL Bean for it. Thanks.
Nothing like a nice quiet day in the woods. What?
No. Listen, you guys have to give it a second for the video to start.
Enjoy wearing my Vista trekking pants, which remain.
I think we might start the video. It was a wonderfully inspiring thing to do as a company for our colleagues. It just shows the joy of our colleagues and how they really embrace the AT Trail. And we're using that now, and we're generating content, and we'll be using that going forward. And just for reference, every single item of clothing worn on that AT Trail, every piece of kit is from LL Bean. So it's, and it really torture tested our products as well. It was a great way of experimenting with our products. So, bold decisions around positioning, creative expression, bold decisions around some of the execution, great ideas around content where we engage people. We're just working on new retail stores. So this year we've got 5 different retail stores. We've opened our 54th retail store this year across 19 states. We're experimenting with student formats in Yale. We're experimenting with an influencer format in Park City, which we've just opened. We're experimenting with new urban formats. So we're really trying to be brave around retail as well in terms of testing different formats, different assortments, and different ways of expressing the brand. We've been bold around brand engagement, so we're doing lots of experiential stuff. We tried a campaign this summer called Be an Outsider at Work. We took pods into parks in city centers in the US. One was in New York, where people could just go out and work outside. So we had these pods that had Wi-Fi, and we just encouraged the nation to go outside and work, which was incredibly popular. We did the Bean Boots and Brews, 5 main brew beers with our Bean Boots, which was hugely successful as a PR campaign. We've been to over 33 colleges selling our products, launching flag football, testing flannel 5Ks. Just great ideas that in themselves are not huge, but as you accumulate them and what they message to the brand and how bold and disruptive they are, it's just a great adventure and excitement for the brand. I'm now going to show you then what we do is how we communicate is, as well as do all that fun stuff, we take big ideas and we try and explode them. So one big idea is we like to own flannel. I'm wearing some flannel today. Flannel is very big to us as a company. We dominate flannel, and I want to show you how we bring to life. When we set our minds to something, we then invest behind it significantly. So there's 2 big campaigns I'm just going to show you very quickly. One is flannel, and one is how we own gifting. So this is a bit of fun on flannel.
Shop 30 styles of flannel at LL Bean. flannel season, where you'll find our exclusive Scotch plaids, yarn dyed and expertly brushed for softness, performance stretch jeans, and our iconic bean boots, handcrafted in Maine since 1912. Find your fall at LL Bean.
So as well as all the excitement behind the campaign, when we have a big idea, we kind of double down on it. And so we're currently investing significantly behind flannel. I'm not quite sure how many flannel shirts we sell a second in the next 8 weeks, but it's huge. And if you can't find your flannel at LL Bean, please come back to me and contact me, because I'm sure you will. There's a flannel for everybody. And then we just explode that everywhere through all our channels to be really omnipresent and to really drive a consistent honed message behind our dominance and ownership of flannel. So again, what I'm trying to say here is you can be bold and experimental and try new and different things across many channels, but there's also a discipline of focus. There's a discipline of take a big program and really drive and double down behind it, as well as have the joy of experimentation. I'm now going to show you the next big bundle, which is gifting. So how we go into gifting post-Thanksgiving, which is obviously very, very soon. And this is an example of how we bring gifting to life during the holiday season.
Everything's gone.
Make it an LL Bean holiday with hundreds of go-to gifts.
And then I think in the interest of time, I'm going to skip these videos. But then we have 4 gifting bundles. And I might just show one of them. We bring to life all the products and the product storytelling through this animated disruptive creative, which actually works in partnership with the more emotional creative you've just seen. We're not showing them. We've moved on. But there are 4 beautiful ones. You see them? They're in digital channels at the moment. But again, it's an example of we take a big platform creative, we then explode that through product storytelling, and then we cascade that through all our touch points, as you can see here. So what do I think have been the lessons as we've been on this journey? Because there have been many. And they've been important lessons. Some have been humbling, some have been energizing lessons as we've taken this journey over the last year. The important thing as we've been on this journey is we've always treated our core customers very respectfully. We have a core customer base. They're at the DNA of this brand. We have to grow with them still at the DNA of this brand, but try to attract new customers at the same time. So we've tried to strike that balance and get that right. Sometimes we've taken it too far. Sometimes we've got the balance just right. And it's an eternal challenge to make sure we continue to do that. Throughout this entire relaunch and rebranding process and revitalization of the brand, it is a 106-year-old brand. We've had to take the whole organization with us on every step of the journey. We've really driven for full communication and full engagement of every single part of the organization. Because as you can see, that doesn't feel like a 106-year-old brand. But to move it on like that, you've got to do it with everybody behind you and everybody believing in it. As well as being respectful about your core customers, you have got to be passionate and you have got to be absolutely forensic in your drive for new customers. This brand has got to attract new customers. This brand can only grow through new customers. Therefore, you've got to have almost an obsession with new customers. And we look at new customers day in, day out to make sure we're driving business growth. Be laser focused on what your brand stands for. We're clear on what we stand for. We're clear on which products we want to communicate. We're also clear on how we want to communicate. Some initiatives will be a slow burn. They're not all going to be massive overnight. So things like, the Boots and Brews, the flannel football, the flannel 5K, some of those kind of nucleus of ideas we've launched with this year could become really big ideas in the next 3 to 5 years. But we're just going to allow them breathing space and oxygen to live. And just prepare for a journey. This does not happen overnight. We've got metrics in place. We're looking at how the brand performs, but do not expect a revolution on a brand that's 106 years old. You've got to have a respectful evolution. And any indicators of success, I always get asked this. Clearly, I don't share any absolute metrics, but at a macro level, we are really encouraged by the level of new customers we're bringing into the brand. It's at the highest levels we've seen for more than a decade. Across all the metrics which we measure with Millward Brown, we're seeing growth in brand consideration, purchase intent, brand awareness. It is a brand that feels like it's got some really positive momentum. We're seeing, as we attract new customers, we're seeing new categories, new products. So, you know, our historic products are still there, but you'll see great outerwear, great fleeces, great flannel, great denim, great bean boots from LL Bean. And then new categories that are attracting new customers. We're fully aligned as an organization on key priorities. We're aligned end to end. We have a new process, we call it commercial planning, which aligns every part of the organization on a weekly basis, from inventory through to manufacturing, through to merchandising, through to marketing. And we have a continued willingness for positive change. We've changed a lot, we've evolved a lot, but we have more of an appetite for even more change. And that's really important within any organization. So it's been a great journey. It's been a great journey of kind of bold initiatives and bold thinking, but we haven't finished it yet. And it will continue for many, many years to come as we hope for another century of joy with LL Bean. So I think I might have a couple of minutes for questions, I'm not sure. Thank you.